Hey guys, I'm going to teach you how to add offset to thicken lines using Design Space all free tools. And the way that I received or saw this picture, it was pretty grainy. If you notice, the quality is not very good. So to begin with, it was going to be a difficult design to upload. Now, this might be just because I copied and pasted from another person who posted it, and that's totally fine. You might have the actual image and it works better because it may be cleaner. But if you don't, you can always look for it. And I literally just typed in football player with football or holding football. That didn't work. But you can also click on that little camera on the right hand side and do a reverse image of the image. So I did it, but I forgot. I actually did it from the one I have already found, but you can do it from the other one. And this is what I found. It was much cleaner. And sometimes you do have to wait until Google uploads it for it to be a cleaner image. There's sometimes that it's not blurry at all, but it seems blurry because you saved it too quick. Anywho, here we have it. Bring it into upload. By hitting select, you can also change your color tolerance to make sure your lines are nice and fine and straight and no blurriness. So I was doing it this way and started to click on everything that is white to make sure that that's what's cut. But the problem is you get really detailed into the helmet and it was going to take a while. So let me show you another trick. Undo. And now do your color tolerance to 100 and now click on the black. Look at how much quicker it'll be. Now, because it is a very detailed design, you will have to get in there real close and personal with your image to make sure that you don't miss any spots. And you might still miss them, but hey, it might be part of the way the design is going to look and it's totally fine. This is where I would say I would either make up my mind. Do I really want to weed this much? Do I want to put this much detail into it? Is Cricut going to work for me this way? Should I find another image? This is a great way to really find out how much work it's going to be. Now, I can easily give you the image, thicken it up for you and give it to you. But the way that I do is I teach you to fish because even though you ask for one thing, I'm going to give you that and more in my videos so that you learn. I've had people message me and said, well, can't you just give me the image? Yeah, I could, but what's the point of you learning then? On top of that, I am a mother, I do have a job, and I do craft. So for me, I can only do these on the times that I have a little bit of spare time. So I don't want you to get stuck and miss out on opportunity just because I'm always giving you the image, you know? All right, we're almost done here. Clicking on everything that is black. Like I said, you have to get really close into the image and you can zoom in. Nice thing is custom name that was on the image won't transfer because you didn't click on it. See? All right, the other thing is this one's a perfect image. The square around it isn't touching the edges. I'm going to save it as single layer so we can have it as a cut. And I'm just going to, football, whatever, name it. Now, when you come into Design Space, the nice thing again, because there's no edges touching the square, you can click on contour and remove the square and you're left with just the image. And it's very helpful. All right, let's talk offset. Now you see the lines, some are thinner, some are thicker, but we really want to focus on those thinner lines. And what you do is go to edit, offset, and now offset can be done at any level. You can make it as thick as you want. And then realize, oh, it's too thick, I don't like it, it's fine. You can undo it or delete it. And then you can go into edit, offset again. And the nice thing I like is you can view it here, but if you go far enough to where you actually apply it, it's just deletable, don't worry. I usually thicken lines at 0.003. You can't hardly see it in this one. And I don't realize it until maybe 4 tries and I change it to purple and I'll show you in a little bit. But if you notice, it's there. And it's always going to look gray, but it's option for you. One, change the color before you even start messing with it, or leave it as gray. Once you once you weld it or unite it, you'll be able to see it thicken up. I tried different numbers, and that's what I like is you can play with the numbers, but when you go into the design, look at those areas that are thinner. So if I do at 0.02, it'll actually take away some of the design by filling it in. So that's why I think 0.003, 0.004 might work because it won't take so much of your design away. Now, if you're okay with it, that's fine. So I'm going to go back to 0.003 because I wanted to check the same areas to make sure that the design isn't being taken away. I added purple to see how much of it I can see. I accidentally did that undo. It's still there. You can't see it as much in the thicker parts, but you can go in there and see it in some of the thinner parts. Am I okay with that being thickened up and possibly even removed? Maybe, because it's so detailed that you won't even see it much. Highlight it, and what I would say is weld. I know you can unite and weld, either one, but for me, it's usually my projects are, that's it, I'm doing that. Unite is the same thing. Unite will do the same exact thing, but it is undoable. So that's the nice thing about it. The reason I like weld is because if I want to make any edits on it, it will actually remove it from the whole picture. And I'm going to show you what I mean in a moment. Here's where I have the original and then the thickened one. If you notice, some of the lines on the actual helmet are a little thicker, making it easier for you to weed later. All right, this is what I mean that I like weld over unite myself. If I wanted to take the football away, it's going to take it from the original image, and it did not take it away from the from the united part. I would have to do it for both. Whereas this one, where I did do weld, I can remove the whole football off by just clicking on contour and removing the items that I don't want. You see how I did it the same thing on both? That's the only reason why I prefer weld over unite. That's just personal preference. Now, this trick also works for fonts, and I could not find the font that I used earlier in a design this week. I can't remember the design. I can't remember the font myself over like this morning, but if they're really thin fonts, any of these thin fonts will work and it's fine. But there's times that you run into really, really thin fonts and you really like it, but it's too thin and it keeps ripping. You can do the same trick. And I'm going to go to the very top and get the font that I know I've struggled the most with, which is Academy Engraved, because it has two, sets of lines, most letters. And so what I'm going to do here, especially if you curve it, now you're really messing with the integrity of the line. So the nice thing is offset. You do your trick. I already had it at 0.003. If you notice, it's a little thicker. I'm going to actually duplicate it so you can actually see the difference of how it starts and what ends up changing when you start adding offset to it. So let me do that for you. Let me undo this, duplicate it, and show you the before and after. Again, when you start curving it, stretching it, making it fit your shirt, it makes some changes to the lines. So here we go. I'm going to put the 0.08, 0.03. I can mess with the numbers. You can type them in. You can use your scroll. And it's just going to all depend on the thickness that you prefer. You see this thickness? It shows you a double layer, and I should have changed the color, but you get the point from the other picture. This is the original on the bottom. The top one is the one with it. I'm going to weld it and look at the thickness of it, but you still have that line there. So you still have it where it's going to be the same font.